Hey, it's Sandra. Welcome to another episode of Asexualise, my asexual life. This is a place to be for education about all things asexual, and I share my own asexual life journey in order to help you in yours. So hit the bell icon after you subscribe right now. So, have you ever been in a situation where you've had to do something in your life, or you've pushed yourself to do something in life, and it's created a lot of anxiety within you? Do you suffer from an anxiety condition? Have you got an anxiety disorder? If so, I know exactly how you feel because I have something called generalized anxiety disorder. I was diagnosed with it in 2010, although I believe I've had anxiety ever since being a baby because I was a stressed baby in the womb, and my mum was in hours of labor, and eventually I was pulled out by forceps because I was a distressed baby in the womb and I wasn't coming out normally. And so I had a 50% chance of survival. And that means I was born into trauma and born into anxiety. So for me, it's very difficult because it's all as a baby I ever knew and in that particular moment. So, with most anxiety conditions, people believe that you can overcome anxiety if you have a reference point at some time in your life where you weren't anxious as a baby, for example. And so the theory is that you're not born anxious. So there's always a time you can go back to and feel the feeling you felt before when you popped out and everything was okay in the beginning. But that doesn't work for someone who's got pre-birth trauma. So from what the experts say is pre-birth trauma is hardwired into your DNA. Whether this is totally true or not, I don't know. I'm not saying things cannot be changed, but it is what specialists believe. However, I do believe in trying to push through my fears, barriers, and boundaries and anxieties to overcome as many obstacles as I can to achieve my dreams. And so, with this in mind, I put myself forward to do things that are difficult for me and can be anxiety inducing because I believe it's something I'm meant to do. So I see myself being a speaker on stage in London, for example, and this year, February 2023, I signed up for speaking programs with a company called Blue Talks. And part of the couple of speaking packages I bought involved me being a speaker at Oxford University, which is happening on the 23rd of October. That's this month when I'm live now. And there is a community post, well, a couple of posts where you can go and grab yourself a free ticket to this live in-person event. They'll have a number of speakers in Oxford University for Blue Talks over the 23rd and 24th of October. And if you didn't know, this is Asexual Awareness Week, or otherwise known as ACE Week. So Asexual Awareness Week, ACE Week starts on the 22nd of October and runs till the 28th of October. So this will be the very beginning of ACE Week. And it would be fabulous to have you along and have your support. Now, this particular audience, Blue Talks audience, stands for Business, Life, and Universe. So it's not a typical asexual audience at all. It's made of entrepreneurs, business people, creatives, authors, speakers, healers, spiritual people. And so I'm having to talk about asexuality in a way that's relatable to this audience. Therefore, I've chosen a topic which I think is very intriguing and can help a lot of people in the audience. And my talk is called How to Reinvent Yourself to Become Your Future Self. And I talk about the transformations I've made in my life, which include a large part of my life being devoted to asexuality. It includes basically the transformations I've made and had since finding out I'm asexual. So it is quite a bit of the talk, but it's not all of the talk. But certainly, asexuality has transformed my life. I mean, I couldn't even be at groups and be comfortable and happy until I started arranging asexual meetups. I couldn't even talk about sex years ago, only with an ex-boyfriend when they were my boyfriend at the time. Now I can talk about sex like it's drinking water. And I was so shy about those type of things, you know? So that's really transformed my life. Discovering I'm asexual and finding my true identity has been very liberating for me. And I've gone from strength to strength. You know, I published Asexual Perspectives book. If you didn't already know that, this became a bestseller this year. So that came out in 2017. I was a speaker at the UK Asexuality conference in 2018, and I launched Asexualise Academy. So if you haven't already taken the free Asexuality Basics for Beginners course, please go and do that. Go to asexualizeacademy.com and go and grab that. I now host the courses predominantly on Thinkific, so it's a really good platform to do that on. I was trying to think, is it Teachable or Thinkific? No, it's Thinkific, but I'm doing courses on Teachable. So yeah, and I also have asexual meetup courses if you're interested in those, which are a fee for those. But yeah, the free basic asexuality course is, like I said, completely free. So go and grab that if you haven't already done so. It's a really good foundation of the asexual spectrum and asexuality. And then in 2019, I published my Ace. I was going to say Ace Fibro Girl book, but it's actually Fibromyalgia Self-Help Handbook, but I'm known as Ace Fibro Girl in it. So I do talk a bit about asexuality in this book. And, you know, that did completely transform my life. Again, with the fibromyalgia, I freed myself of depression. I became a superhero of my own life to save myself from pain. And here I am, and I'm speaking on lots of different podcasts. I've been on Sense of Soul recently, Lifeology before that. And so I want to talk to you today about how I'm overcoming anxiety, because I do have anxiety and I'm willing to share my personal story with the world. And so for me, I've had a lot of symptoms of asexuality, symptoms of anxiety. Oh my God, I can't believe I said that. Oh, but I was actually practicing my talk earlier and I got mixed up with my words and I forgot stuff because I'm in a highly anxiety induced state today. Well, I have been worse, but it's been a bit difficult in the last 24 hours because they've changed me around from being a speaker number 3 to number 4, so it's even later. And I did ask to go first and they haven't put me first because in part my talk is about asexuality, so they want something else and someone else to start the conversation off because mine's a bit of a taboo topic. So yeah, it's a bit disappointing in that respect that I'm not going on first, but obviously they have their reasons why, and I respect that. So, but my talk is not just about asexuality, it's about how I transform myself over my life from being a depressed, suicidal mess to being happy and living with purpose. And it's from going from self-loathing to self-loving, from unhappy introvert to happy extrovert, from being shy to talk about sex to not being shy to talk about that, you know, and completely transforming my life. So it's not all about asexuality. And Oxford University anyway has an LGBTQ plus community at Oxford University itself, but I'm speaking for Blue Talks at Oxford University. And it is Asexual Awareness Week. So it's a shame it's not going first, really. Do you know what I mean? Because it is Asexual Awareness Week and it is very important. But I'm glad I'm doing it then. So how am I coping? Like, what things am I finding stressful? First of all, trying to think about my talk and do a structured talk is very difficult for me because I'm used to ad-libbing on this channel. So in order to solve anxiety difficulties, you really have to know what the problem is. Like, why are you anxious? What's particularly triggering the anxiety? So part of it is because I do ad lib on this channel. The more I think about what I'm speaking about, the more mistakes I make. So when I say about symptoms of asexuality instead of symptoms of anxiety, a few minutes ago, I was more in my head. I was more thinking about what I had to say rather than just saying it. So there's a saying in the speaker world that if you're in your head, you're dead, which means that you cock up usually. So I've practiced my talk a couple of times to camera. First time was nearly half an hour long. I've got to be 20 minutes or less. So that was not good. So I had to cut it down. And then I've done a practice earlier on. And that was 14 minutes and 14 seconds. But I did miss something out. I did repeat myself twice. I did stumble over my words. So at least I know I'm within the 20 minutes now and I can relax more and kind of think about what I'm saying more without thinking, if you know what I mean. And I need to practice my talk more, but at least I know I'm on more of the right direction now because it's less minutes. So it's very hard for me to do a structured talk. There's a lot of different stages in my life that I have to remember for this talk in order for it to flow the best. And obviously, asexuality is a large part of that, but it's also about other things I've done in my life and overcome. So actually trying to remember the asexual stuff amongst all the other stuff is quite difficult to remember some of it because my mind is like divided into two things. One's like personal development without asexuality and the rest is asexuality. And so that's quite hard. So I find the fact that the the talk has, structuring the talk is very difficult for me. I know some people with anxiety would find it easier to structure a talk. For me personally, I find it easier to ad lib, but I do need to do some structure of it because it's a longer talk that I'm used to doing, and I have to focus on the title that I've given it, which is how to reinvent yourself to become your future self. So it's more structured, it's more formulaic, it's more restrictive, if you like, it's more timed. So I've got to be concise and precise. I can't go off on tangents like I usually do on this show. I don't have people in chat there to support me. And it is harder because it's not an asexual audience as such. It's Blue Talk. So it's business, life, and universe. So it's people that are not probably asexual. And so this makes it harder in the sense it's not as comfortable for me to talk in front of a different audience than it is to talk to asexuals about asexuality. So it's getting me out of my comfort zone. Oxford, I have visited once before when I was recorded for Deal or No Deal. I had an audition for it, the game show years ago, and I didn't get on it. I really kind of cocked it up. I know I cocked it up. I started going about teamwork and being part of a team when I should have like let my personality out more and said some of my life and stuff like that. I think I'll be a very interesting person for them now, but probably I wasn't so back then. But the show doesn't happen with Noel Edmonds anymore. But I've been in the audience before, which was great. I got to open a box as well during a break, but that was never aired because there was a corruption thing about the fact that the show was making certain people win the prize draw. And so they were being investigated at the time. So mine didn't get shown and I got to open a box for the break. I was so gutted. I'm like, I didn't get to make it on this show. I did as a witch in a Halloween episode once, but on the audience, no one really saw me. So I would have loved to have like opened the box and had that scene. But anyway, I am digressing. So in my talk for Blue Talks, I can't really digress. I have to stick to more formula and structure, which I find harder. I'm worried about going over time because I did before. I'm worried about if I'm going to miss bits out like I did miss a bit out earlier when I was practicing. And I repeated myself twice with the same information. I don't usually ever do that. So that's more worrying. And just the general stress of going up there because Oxford is not near my home. It's probably going to take me about 3.5 to 4 hours to get there in total. I have to change via Reading. And so it's not just an easy, straightforward trip for me. I think I've got half an hour between stations. So I think I leave at 8:30. And I think I don't get there till like 11:30 on the Sunday. That's the day before I'm due to talk. And so there's a stress of my fibromyalgia condition, my anxiety condition, because I have special health needs. I have to go to the toilet regularly. My anxiety makes me go to the toilet more. And, packing a case, I've got a new case, which is not as big as the one I took to Disneyland Paris. So it shouldn't be as hard to maneuver. It does feel more flimsy though. So I'm not sure how it's going to hold up. So I'm a bit worried about that. I've got a new suit, but I've had to pay a tailor to take up the trousers. So sense of soul. Oh, it's lovely to see you. Thank you. You've got this, just breathe. Thank you. It's really nice to see you. Oh, wow. I wasn't expecting that. I really appreciate it. Yeah. Yes, I was talking in the networking on Blue Talks behind the scenes tonight. One of the people was saying, just breathe. You're like talking without breathing. I'm like, well, yeah, I did say at another networking session in one of the other rooms, like, I'm not very good with breathing exercise. They don't really work for me. So I end up like talking without really breathing very much. That's a skill, I guess, in itself, talking without breathing. Like, how does that happen? So yeah, so I'm worried about my fibromyalgia and stuff like that. And the stress of trying to get food up there as well, because I can't eat normal things because of all my dietary requirements. We're apparently going out on the night, but the venue is not going to be booked up probably for that till the night before, something like that. So I don't have a clue where that is, but I'm more concerned about my talk first. You know what I mean? My actual hotel is not in a nice area because it's in the sense of soul. Thank you. So my hotel is in the city centre. I've chosen the Premier Inn because I love Premier Inns. So I'm going to be comfy in the hotel, and it's near the shops and it's near places I can eat. So that's not the problem, an issue. I've still got to find a taxi company that can take me from the hotel to the venue. Even though it's 1 mile down the road, I've got a really nice new suit and I do not want to be sweating going down the road in a nice new suit. So yeah, so I'm having the tailor take up the trousers. He's got them till Tuesday this coming week. So I'm really happy with my suit. It is very glitzy and glamorous, which I love. I like to stand out from the crowd. So, but it's really hot. I tried the whole suit on. I'm sweating in it, and I haven't even done anything in it yet, really. Apart from tried it on, I'm like, this is not good. I might have to like not wear the jacket because I'm already sweating, and I need to wash it already. I'm like, and it's sequins, so it's like, oh, it's a really hard thing to wash. I'm like, oh my gosh. And then my hair, because apparently the hair's got to be taken like this, and I don't ever usually wear my hair like that, so I've been stressing about that. I've got a scrunchie, but it's the wrong color because it doesn't really go with the suit. So there's another one I can buy, but Heidi says she's going to give me some pins to put like here. They're called bobby pins or something in the US. They're called like hair clips here, but I think hair grips. But yeah, so I don't like my hair like this really, but I've got to have it like that because of the mic. So that's another strat. And I talk with my hands sometimes and be expressionate, which is really good because years ago, when I was at school, I got criticized that I was not animated enough. And that was a huge criticism. I think I was like 14, 15 at the time. And they're like, you're not animated enough. And now I'm really animated. So that's a good thing about me. So yeah, so I tore my hands, but I got to be careful not to touch the mic. So you got to keep your hands out here. Like, this is a lot to remember. And then people obviously could finish their talks earlier, in which case I'll be on earlier, which would probably suit me a bit better actually, because I was speaker 3 and now I'm speaker 4. Sense of soul. Oh, I can't wait to see the talk. I'm excited for you. Oh, thank you. Lots of love. I loved being on your podcast, by the way. It's amazing. Thank you for being here. It really does help me a lot. Yeah. I hope the guinea pigs are doing well. I love guinea pigs. But yes, so I haven't really said much about what I'm doing to help my anxiety at the moment, because I'm trying to tell people the things that I'm anxiety induced about, because it is difficult for me. So I got food, the clothes I'm wearing. I had to buy new shoes as well because the suit is blue with sparkly things, sparkly sequins, and I haven't got any blue shoes, and I tried to wear black with it, but it doesn't quite go. So I've had to buy brand new shoes that are the same as a black pair I've got, but in blue to go with the suit. And they take 5 days minimum to come, but there's no guarantee they're going to come in time. If not, I'll have to wear the black ones. But it's like so stressful. New suit, new shoes, Taylor taking the trousers up, and then I haven't even started on snacks and stuff I'm going to have to take for the journey or anything like that. It's like, oh my gosh, it's like stress. And I have problems usually with a case, getting it on and off trains and things like that. I have to change trains. I think I've mentioned that already. So, and then because I've got other speakers on before me, it's going to be hard for me to remember my talk while they're on. I really just wanted to be first because I wanted to do it first, but it's not happening. So I've got to be patient. I've got to try and remember what I'm going to say. I will be doing some ad-libbing though, because I know it's going to go that way, because I'm just going to have to be in flow. I'm not using PowerPoint. I chose early on not to do that. I thought about doing it and then I'm like, that's really going to distract me. I'm not used to doing that on my channel. It's going to really mess me up. So I decided not to do that. So I have to do it from memory, but whilst flowing. Part of my talk is about asexuality, but it is about how to reinvent yourself to become your future self. And I do go back to early childhood. And I do a number of years, not all the years of childhood. I just do like a couple from them and then fast forward. So it's really interesting talk. I do think it'll be interesting for people. If it go when everything goes good, then it'll be great. So what am I doing to reduce my anxiety? This is a difficult one. So the last week I've done a lot, but things have changed in the last couple of days, which has set it off again more. So I was having really bad issues because I have the fight or flight take over my body. So it's like an automated response, which is not good. I can't control that. So it's like in my tummy and it just goes into fight or flight and it's very difficult to get out. I have been managing that in the sense I've been doing stuff to try and stop that. But actually when it's there and it comes on, it's not really any stopping. It's more like you've got to try and stop it before it happens, if you know what I mean, by doing things to help reduce anxiety, if that makes sense. So that's a really difficult thing for me because it's like automatic response, and so that isn't helpful. And what happens is I get very debilitated by that. I start getting really dizzy, and with dizziness, you can't really do much. You can't really do much work. You can't really do much of anything. So it gets really debilitating. I think it's important I speak out about this because so many people don't talk about entrepreneurship and anxiety. They don't talk about mental health conditions. People think you've got to be fully healed to achieve your dreams, which you don't have to be. I've achieved loads of dreams and really shifted my whole life around, which you'll discover in my talk with having anxiety, but it makes it like 10 times or 50 times harder. But I do it, and I knew that I was going to be anxiety induced before I did the Oxford talk, but I didn't think it was be this bad because I remember when I did my talk at the UK Asexuality conference in 2018, I did have some anxiety, but it wasn't like giving me really bad symptoms that I remember from dizziness and stuff like that. So when I get dizzy, it's like really, it's like you're on a ship or something. It's very disconcerting. And I get dry mouth, which my mouth is probably getting a bit dry now, and things like that. So it's really like I could feel myself as well earlier. I didn't say anything, but when I first started the networking tonight with the Blue Talks people, I felt my hands shaking a little bit, and I'm like, this is not good. So I hadn't had that before, but I felt it. I could feel them shaking a little bit. So this is not good. So anyway, I have been helping myself and I've got to get back into the mindset of the ways I was helping myself before the like recent fact that I'm now going to be a later speaker and things like that. So what have I done and been doing that has been helpful? So what's been helpful for me is changing my mindset and having an attitude of adventure. So instead of looking at it like I just want to get it over and done with, which my mind has slipped back into in the last kind of 24, 48 hours, it's just the opposite. So it's looking at it like an adventure and with excitement and wow, not many people get to do what you're going to be doing, Sandra. Not many people can say they've spoken at Oxford University. You'll be able to do that and it'll be a memory to treasure forever. And it's exciting and it's fun and it's vibrant and it's energetic. So kind of much more like positive emotions, higher energetic vibration, higher energetic thinking, which when I think about it more like an adventure and it's so exciting, then I become excited and then my anxiety levels lower for more of the excitement to come through. Also, I tell myself literally to be calm, but I have to put myself in more of a docile state. I don't know how to describe it, so it's really hard. So it's almost like, I don't know how, it's really difficult. I'm trying to think of an analogy. So if you have maybe a car. I don't drive, so this probably isn't going to go well. But anyway, say is it the engine that starts overheating, and you need it to calm down, and you kind of have to slow it down for it to for it to stop smoking and for it to just kind of like be there. I don't know how to describe it. Or maybe I should say it's like a pot of vegetables that are on the stove and you're having to simmer them. So it's kind of like you have to dull down your inner part in order to be more subdued, to be calmer. And this is a difficult one for me because subdued is not a very good word, really. It's more like you're more lower down in the vibration in that way, if you know what I mean. So that is hard. It's almost like you're dampening some of your emotions, which obviously you've got to be careful because of suppression and repression of emotions are not good. But then, in the sense that you've got to get through something that's difficult, you kind of have to do sometimes push those emotions kind of like to a certain area of you for containment, if you like. It's a bit hard to describe, but by saying calm, just be calm, it's like I'm literally pushing myself down. This is really hard to describe, but I hope I'm making some sense. So it's like making myself more subdued, like I'm calm, I'm calm, I'm calm, which is different to my high octane energy, right? So it's and also I've got to still maintain a level of high octane energy whilst being calm. So they're a bit of a discrepancy between each other, if that makes sense. But I find that going out a lot really helps me. Having fun incorporated into doing this is very vital for me. So I've been going out to the cinema more. I've been going out for meals more. So I've got to mix fun with whatever I'm doing, because if I just focus on the talk and I do get into a high anxiety induced state, I can't do any of the talk. It makes me dysfunctional and makes me unable to get on with the talk. I've been able to get on with the talk more because I've been going out, relaxing more, being more calm, and being able to just work through doing my talk. So I'm at a stage now where I do have a rough idea of my talk, like what I'm going to say. And it's got to a better stage now. Only in the last 24 hours, I've really come together, but I've still got to practice it because there are some stuff like I missed out earlier on the video that I did recording myself, and it wasn't as good as it could have been at all. I really need to improve. So going out, having fun, going to the cinema, out for meals, this is all really good. Making sure that I mix a lot of fun in with it. So if I'm treating it like an adventure and excitement, I need to have fun with it, right? And if I'm indoors all the time as an extrovert, it really doesn't bode well for my personality. It kind of pushes my personality down more, and it doesn't allow me to go out. I get energized by being around people. And if I'm indoors all the time and I am anxiety induced, it makes me focus on my anxiety more. Whereas if I go out and be around other people, eat out, go to the cinema, it just takes my mind off my anxiety. So that really helps me. And it's a very good tactic to use. And also having nice nutritious foods, but although I haven't been eating as regularly as I should be doing because I've been busy doing other things for Blue Talks, because I'm in their next chapter. I'm in their next book chapter, should I say. I've got a chapter in their next book. That's what I should say, is the correct way of phrasing it. And I'm in another one of their books, well, Corey's books, should I say, as well. Yeah, so that's been interesting. I've joined Experts Bureau, so I've got to do a lot for that as well. I've had to spend like 4 hours doing a Google Doc for that, so that's been quite stressful. So yeah, I just think that it will go well in the end, because I wouldn't have put myself forward for doing the talk if I didn't believe I could do it. So obviously I have to change my mindset around to being positive, and that it will go well, and that I'll be the master of my own stage, and that I'll look absolutely gorgeous, and that things will go really well. So positive self-talk is really important, saying no matter what, I'm a lion, I'm a tiger, I will get through this, I will succeed, I will do the talk, and it will be amazing. And if not, don't worry about it, because you have to take some heat off yourself, because if you put too much pressure on yourself to be perfect, it's not going to be good. I just have to think that when I'm talking on this channel, if I make a mistake, I can get out of it quite easily. And so if I cock up, it's not the end of the world. I think you have to just think in the end, well, F it, if it goes well, it goes well. If it doesn't, it doesn't. If it goes in between, that's great as well. Whatever happens, happens. It'll be a learning experience. It'll be good for me. I'm sure it will go well in the end. And because it's my own personal story, then I will get through it because I know my own personal story better than anyone else. I might miss something out or change some of the dates around and things like that. When I mean change the dates around, say a later date before an earlier date and stuff like that. So I might do stuff like that. That might happen. I think I have to have a certain amount of compassion for myself, a certain amount of empathy for myself, a lot of love for myself, and a lot of positive self-talk. And I'm seeing my best friend again before I go to Oxford University, so they'll give me some support as well. They've been very supportive in messaging, so I think if you've got supportive friends, that really does help, having those conversations about your feelings and your thoughts and your emotions, yet still being able to push through your fears and anxieties and boundaries and do the things you need to do to achieve your dreams is very important. Like Oxford University, talking there is a dream come true. It will be amazing. I will love it. I will enjoy it when I'm talking. I will make the best of it because when I'm in that zone, I want my audience to be really happy. And so one of the best things you can do is to actually think of your audience rather than yourself. So you put the emphasis on the audience when you're actually at the venue and you think, I've got to make my audience really happy right now. The audience have come to be informed, entertained, and to learn stuff. And so I've got to make sure they do that as well as spreading awareness of asexuality. So it's very important that I am aware that my audience is my priority rather than myself in the sense of them enjoying the talk. But obviously I've got to make sure that my own health needs are a priority because you can't help other people and fill their cup up and make them happy if you're not making yourself happy and looking after yourself. So it's really important to look after yourself. I would say getting sleep the night before is going to help, but I doubt I'll get much sleep at all because I have anxiety, as I've said at the beginning of this video, and I don't usually go to sleep till 4 a.m. anyway. But it is a Premier Inn. The beds are really comfy, so who knows? I might get some sleep. I might get some very good sleep on a nice comfy bed in the Premier Inn. I do love the Premier Inn. I'm staying there 2 nights, which is really helpful because I don't have to rush after my talk to any public transport, anything like that. I'm actually there the second day as well. I'm going to be in the audience. So I'm really looking forward to that. And I don't actually mind being interviewed, but they're not interviewing me, not planned or scheduled anyway, because I don't mind sat there on a panel of people being interviewed. I'm good with ad-libbing and I'm good with being in that type of situation. It's a structured talk that I find a lot harder. But I want to thank Sense of Soul for being here and saying that you're so excited for me and you can't wait to see the talk, and I've got this. I really do appreciate your support. Lots of love to you. Thank you for being in the chat tonight. And yeah, it's really important thing in my life that I'm doing, and it will be a fear and barrier and anxiety thing that I've crossed when I've done it. So I will feel really good and glad. So I think that's what you've got to think about as well, because I'm reinventing myself at the moment. So I'm following my own formula of reinvention that I'm talking about in the talk. And, the awareness, first stage is awareness of the problem, which is the fact that I need to be a speaker on stage because that's what I visualize for myself. So in order to do that, I've then got to take the steps necessary to become that speaker. And that means getting out of my comfort zone to be able to get to the end result, which is being on stage speaking. And so I'm taking the steps that I'm actually talking about in the talk, which is very interesting. The solution is to get on and talk. And then I've taken the steps necessary to reach that solution, which was to join Blue Talks, do some of their speaker programs, their courses online, learn more about the speaking industry, learn a lot from Corey Poirier, who's my mentor, trainer, and coach, and then go on to actually do talks, right? Which is very daunting for me, but I do see myself being an amazing speaker on stage. So in order to make that happen, I've got to practice. And if I don't get it brilliant the first time, it's not going to be the end of the world. But I love to succeed at whatever I do. I love to be good talker for people, and I just want to help people, and if I can talk really well, it's going to help a lot more people, and I have a way to go yet. So yeah, so I've just got to keep myself feeling good, feeling vibrant, energetic, feeling fun, making sure that I'm having nice showers that make me feel good, having nice food, doing some other things, not just focusing on the talk, having fun times, peacefully calming myself, and just saying, I'm calm. Whatever happens will happen. It's okay. I can ad lib. I'm good at ad libbing. I can get myself out of any situation. It's all going to be fine. I'm going to go out there with fire in my belly. I'm going to be a lion and a tiger, and I'm going to go raw in a nice way. And I'm going to really be incredible. Like rev yourself up, push yourself up, put yourself up, put yourself on a pedestal a bit yourself, it's really good. So be your own best cheerleader, I'm trying to say. That's really important. So yeah, just do whatever it takes to make you feel good, to feel calmer, to feel more in control of the situation of yourself, because you can't control the environment. But obviously it does help if you know whereabouts you're speaking. So I asked the event manager if I could find out which room it's going to be in. So she's told me the room now, so I can familiarize myself visually with the layout of the room just from a picture. So that's fine. That's helped. And talking to the event manager before has helped as well, because obviously it gets some things more clearer in my own mind. And so, yeah, that's been good. So, and I got a bit of advice from other people that have spoken as well. But at the end of the day, I'm unique. So I've got to just think of a plan that's best for me. I do know what's best for me. At the end of the day, like, everyone knows their own body, everyone knows their own mind and what's best for them. So, and being a coach to yourself, I've mentioned this technique before. Being a coach to yourself is like, okay, what have I got to do now? Like, what's the next thing I've got to do? And the next thing, and the next thing. So, for example, getting ready, it's like with the case, it's like, I've got to get the case now. Like, get a suit. Okay, the trousers are too long. What have I got to do next? Go to see the tailor. Okay, now I've got the wrong colored shoes. What do I do next? Go and buy some shoes that match. I tried different shoes. They didn't work. So I've gone and bought some that should be a similar color. So all the time I'm like coaching myself, saying, what's the next thing and the next thing? Because sometimes you're so anxiety induced, you can't think straight of a lot of things you've got to do. So it's just about taking the next step. And as someone from Frozen 2 said, sometimes it's just about doing the next best thing or the next right thing. So you just got to do the next thing and the next thing and the next thing. So when I'm in Oxford, it'll be like going up on the train. Hopefully that's okay. Then going to check into my hotel, going to get some lunch and food, going to buy food for the rest of the trip, because I'm going to have to take food for breaks and probably lunch and stuff like that, because there's not going to be anything there for me to eat necessarily at the venue. So with all the food allergies and intolerances I've got, I'll be making sure my suit's ready for putting on the next day. I'll have to get up really early, book a taxi, and I have to make sure that I'm as pumped as possible and ready and raring to go. And I just go for it, and then remember as much as possible ad-libbing, and remembering as much as I can about to incorporate asexuality into it as well, because some bits I'm missing out are actually to do with asexuality, which is shocking because I talk about asexuality all the time. So I've really got a lot of improvements to do, but I've still got a week to do it, hey ho, and over a week. But the boot camp, they've got an experts boot camp on for 3 days. I can't really do any work much in those 3 days because it's full on every single day. So Blue Talks have got this free experts boot camp. So that takes up 3 days. That's a lot of time. So just remember to love yourself, to self-care. I did some of James Miller's Lifeology show. I was on James Miller's Lifeology radio show. James Miller has a Lifeology style workbook. It's a James Miller workbook, basically. And it's to help you be it's basically like to help you be your own superhero of your own life, because it talks you through like what's the difficulties you're having at the moment, the feelings and emotions, and how have you dealt with these before? What did you do? What steps did you take? What's helpful for you? How are you feeling now? How did you feel then? How did you change it? So I did some of that, and that was really helpful. So journaling's good, writing a diary's good, all this type of thing, workbooks, so that you can find out what works, and then you can keep all the things that work as a formula in a diary or journal, so that you can use time and time again for a recipe for getting your life back on track, yourself back on track, and reducing your anxiety. I hope you found this helpful, useful, insightful. If you have, please pop a comment down below. Don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, subscribe if you haven't already, and hit the bell icon. And thanks to Sense of Soul for being here. I so appreciate you. Lots of love. I'll see you all soon on the next video live stream. Take care. Bye.